7 signs. You were designed to lead in silence. Machiavelli. Leadership isn't always loud. Some people were never meant to command with words, but with presence. They don't raise their voice. They raise standards. They don't beg for the spotlight. The spotlight finds them. These people are often overlooked at first. Too quiet, too observant. But behind that silence lies calculation, strategy, power. They aren't insecure, they're focused. They know that influence doesn't come from dominating a room. It comes from mastering yourself. And while others rush to be seen, these silent leaders are already 10 steps ahead, watching, learning, waiting. You've likely felt it, how people lean in when you speak, or how they grow uncomfortable when you say nothing at all. That's not a coincidence. It's a signal. Silent leaders unsettle the insecure because they don't play by ordinary rules. They lead with consistency, not charisma, with clarity, not chaos, and most importantly, with restraint. While others spill their thoughts carelessly, the silent leader guards their words like weapons. When they finally speak, everyone listens, not out of obligation, but out of respect. Because silence, when backed by strength, becomes a force no one can ignore. The silent leader doesn't chase validation. He doesn't need applause to confirm his value. In fact, he's often underestimated until it's too late. Why? Because he hides power behind patience. While others rush to prove themselves, he moves like a shadow, quiet, precise, and deliberate. And when the moment comes, he strikes with clarity. That's the trick. By the time people realize who he truly is, he's already in control. That kind of leadership can't be taught. It's wired into your very psychology. You weren't made to blend in. You were designed to observe, and then take command. People think leadership is about being loud, about taking up space, but silence, real silence, carries weight. It commands attention without asking. The silent leader doesn't overpower. He influences without force. He doesn't react. He responds. And that subtle distinction makes him lethal in any room. His strength lies in emotional mastery. He sees through deception, senses tension, and calculates impact before speaking a single word. Others are loud because they're unsure. You are quiet because you already know. That's not passivity. That's precision. And it terrifies those who rely on noise to feel significant. The silent leader understands one powerful truth. Words can be manipulated, but presence cannot. While others are busy selling their image, he lets his energy speak. He doesn't need to be loud because his consistency builds reputation louder than any voice could. In meetings, he speaks last, but what he says lingers. In conflict, he rarely reacts, but when he does, the room shifts. Why? Because he's mastered restraint. In a world addicted to instant expression, silence becomes a weapon. And when used wisely, it terrifies those who depend on noise to be relevant. His power, it's not in what he says, it's in what he holds back. Most people seek recognition. The silent leader seeks impact. He understands that true influence doesn't need a spotlight. It needs strategy. He moves like a shadow, present, deliberate, and undistracted. He doesn't waste energy proving his value because he knows one thing. Value is felt, not shouted. While others chase validation, he studies patterns. While they argue to be heard, he listens to win. This man doesn't fight every battle. He chooses the ones that shift the entire board. He's not impulsive. He's surgical, not loud, lethal. And that's why people follow him. even if they don't fully understand why. Because power in silence is the most commanding power of all. He's not the hero in people's stories. He's the force behind their shifts. The silent leader doesn't crave to be seen. He prefers to be felt. His influence is invisible but undeniable. He doesn't push people. He pulls them with presence. His decisions are sharp, calculated, and rarely understood in the moment. But over time, they prove prophetic. He doesn't tell people what to do. He makes them want to do it. That's the Machiavellian edge: to lead without command, to rule without a throne. While others struggle to control, he engineers outcomes in silence. He's not just respected, he's remembered. In the end, his power comes from one thing. He doesn't seek to dominate others, he dominates himself. While the world screams for attention, he masters the art of stillness. And in that stillness, there's power no one can touch. You can't predict him, you can't shake him, because he's not driven by ego. He's driven by purpose. He doesn't reveal plans, only results. He doesn't ask for trust. He earns it through presence. And that's the final sign. The silent leader doesn't rise by chance. He rises by design. Not because he demands control, but because he already controls the one thing no one else can: himself. The silent leader thrives in patience, and he understands that timing is not merely a tool, it is power itself. While others rush, driven by impulse or the fleeting need for recognition, he moves deliberately, reading the currents beneath the surface of every situation. He watches patterns where others see chaos, anticipates moves before they are made, and waits for the exact moment when action carries the greatest weight. Opportunities rarely come to those who shout or force themselves into visibility. They arrive to those who understand that restraint amplifies influence. Every gesture, every pause, every decision is intentional. His silence is frequently misread as passivity, weakness, or indecision. But in truth, it is the quiet architecture of strategy. By mastering the art of waiting, he bends outcomes to his favor without appearing to interfere. In rooms filled with noise and haste, he is the still point, the observer others overlook, until it is far too late. And in that stillness lies the terrifying edge: the ability to act precisely, decisively, and with complete clarity. While the rest are still scrambling to understand the game they are already losing. Ultimately, the silent leader leaves a legacy not through words, titles, or superficial applause, but through the tangible, enduring results of his mastery. He does not seek followers in the conventional sense. He inspires alignment through consistency, foresight, and a presence that commands respect without demand. His influence is subtle, yet unshakable, quietly shaping the landscape while others burn themselves out, chasing fleeting recognition. Those who rely on noise to assert dominance cannot compete with the calm, measured authority he embodies. Leadership in silence is not merely a skill to be learned. It is an art to be perfected. And the one who masters it transforms every room he enters, not with volume, not with showmanship, but with the invisible gravity of presence. He does not just command attention, he commands outcomes. He does not seek glory. He leaves a mark that endures long after the moment has passed. Quiet, deliberate, and almost imperceptibly, he redefines power, proving that the truest form of authority is self-mastery, exercised with patience, precision, and purpose.